We are back on MorningLine, final segment. Nick Leonardo had to leave us, but I've got more calls and comments here as I was going through Facebook because we're talking about George Floyd and moving forward with other trials. Jennifer makes a good point here, just regard to she's in favor of police reform, making it a top priority, but not defunding the police. And that whole phrase, defunding police, can mean a lot of different things to other people. No one thinks police should just completely go away. There has to be some type of law enforcement, someone you can call in an emergency. But reform to a degree, everything can always be improved to some, and I think most people would agree something along those lines. Let's go to Linda. Linda, good morning. Hi, Linda.
Good morning. Just a comment.
Yes.
I can totally understand why folks are reluctant around police officers when they get pulled over on the side of the road. I was a teacher, and I had been to a conference, and I wanted to get to school early the next morning after I had been out for a few days to make sure everything was intact. And I was at an intersection. This was way before the lights even started changing, like 5:30 and 6 o'clock. And I pulled out onto the main highway right before a police officer pulled onto the side road. I pulled out, and he immediately turned around, turned his lights on, and pulled me over. And I have a feeling that I was driving a Mustang, and he thought that I was a young chick, which I was not. Probably when he saw that I was old enough to be his mother, if not older, he changed his tune, and he said, "I just want to make sure that you wear your seatbelt." And I thought, now how in the world could he know that I didn't have my seatbelt on? It was like pitch black that morning.
But you didn't have it on. You didn't have it on, did you? So.
Oh no, I did not. I did have it on.
Okay.
Because I had to unbuckle it to reach over to get my registration out.
Okay. Well, I mean, your point there. Again, whatever happened in that scenario, I don't know. But I mean, again, I'm just going to go back to this. The vast majority of police officers don't pull over Mustangs because they think there's a pretty girl behind the wheel. It just doesn't happen, and I don't know the circumstance why else he might have. But yeah, incidents happen along those lines. But as I've said, everyone has their own personal experience or feeling about it, and different people have different feelings about being pulled over. And it's too easy for me, the way I feel, to just say, well, just do everything the police officer says, when I perceive that there are friends of mine who happen to be black who say, Nick, I don't feel the same way about a law enforcement officer. When a law enforcement officer stops you or approaches you, you view him as a friend or someone who can help. When that happens with me, I find that that's someone who is an enemy that scares me. Put yourself in their shoes for a minute and just try to understand that. Again, it doesn't mean you shouldn't try to cooperate with officers, but there's a big difference in the way you feel approaching an individual like that based on how you perceive them. And we have different perceptions that have grown now because of things that have happened. Let's go next to Carrie. Carrie, good morning. Hi, Carrie.
Hello.
Hey, what's on your mind?
I just got a comment about the police reform.
Yeah.
There's something needs to be done about this, because in Franklin County and Coffee County, they are very racist, and you can do the littlest thing and they will be right on you.
Okay. But are you saying that they're going after you for no reason, or you've done something that requires them to stop you?
Even if you have a black guy in your car, they will pull you over.
Oh, well. Okay, I don't know of cases like that. Does it happen? I'm sure it does at times. But again, if incidents like that happen, it needs to be addressed, needs to be reported. But law enforcement officers, by and large, aren't going around pulling people over for no reason. The whole phrase, driving while black, is that out there because that has been a situation where you look at the numbers and it seems that more of them get stopped, African Americans? Sure. There's a reason behind some of that, but in general, officers do not. So reform. I think most police officers will tell you, and if you observe them, are not racist individuals. And there are black and white officers. There are officers of all kinds of ethnic backgrounds. Let's go to Ed. Ed, good morning. Hi, Ed.
Good morning, Nick.
Morning, Ed.
Okay, I feel like that in my heart of mine that justice was served yesterday out in Minneapolis. I also read someplace that those two had worked together someplace, and my mind is racing with me right now, but they didn't get along. And according to the lady that called in earlier about the look into his eyes, I didn't pay that much attention to that because I saw that doggone video so much. But if that was the case, maybe he's saying, I don't hold grudges. I just get back at the dirty person, you know. But still, they'd been served. He should never have been on that police force at that time anyway, because there'd been about 17, maybe 19 complaints against him for his actions when he would stop people or whatever. So, and I think what he'd done is like a lot of people, he'd got away with a lot of stuff, and he decided, well, I'll get away with this. Well, unfortunately, time caught up with him. And it's a sad situation.
Well, I agree, and you know, time and technology caught up with him. And keep in mind, Chauvin was a training officer, okay? He's the training officer. And what I mean by technology is, folks, we're sitting here talking about this and many of these other cases, and in the absence of video, none of this happens. None of this happens. If there was not video, it would be he said, she said. You don't have a case. The video makes all the difference. And as I've said before, it's my belief that if I were a law enforcement officer, I'd want my body cam video because I'm a good officer and because I would want to have that video to clarify to anyone should false claims be made against me. And there are going to be shootings, okay? There is a shooting that just happened last night that's been in the headlines out of Columbus, Ohio, where a 16-year-old girl was shot by a police officer there. All right, initial reports, all right, shot by a police officer. Why? What happened in all this case? Well, they released later in the evening, you know, video from that police officer, and it appeared as though this youngster, and it's tragic, had a knife and was going after two people and refused to back down when the officer gave verbal commands as she lunged at another person. Okay, that's where it stands now. There will be more investigation. But before that video was released, everyone was like, oh, a police officer shoots a 16-year-old. What's going on here? Well, you have to wait until you get all the facts. And a big part of the fact-finding mission is looking at that police body cam video. And in this case, it's still early. It may show, as tragic as it was, that shooting is justified. And don't give me any of this crap about, well, why couldn't he just wing her in the leg or shoot her in the arm? No. Police officers are taught from day one, if, as a last resort, you need to use lethal force, your deadly weapon potential, you shoot general Mahdi mass. Why is that? Not because you want to kill someone. Why? Because in the heat of a moment, you're shooting at someone. The odds are your aim's not going to be real great. And so you shoot at the largest section of their body, which is right here, so that if you're off a bit, you might indeed wing them in the leg or the arm or the shoulder. But that gives you the best chance at making contact, because you're not pulling that gun and firing unless you intend to hit something. So you're shooting at the main mass. So that's why the report is that 16-year-old was shot at least 2 or 3 times, maybe 4, in the chest by this officer at that moment. Now, why 4 times and at what range and was it needed? That's something that's still going to be investigated. But that police video has given some context to the story. It wasn't this that he pulled up, saw her and started shooting. The report now is she had a knife and was going after another individual, trying to stab her when she refused to stop, and he intervened. That's where it stands right now. But that's my point. The video here is crucial, not only to protect the civilians, but to protect the police officers. And without the video in the Derek Chauvin case, as egregious as that case was, there never would have been a trial like this. It just wouldn't have happened. Video is a good thing on a lot of levels. It tells only part of the story, but it is crucial. And that video in the Delke case, which is going to be gavel to gavel here on the Plus in July, is going to be crucial. And it will be broken down to minutia for the jurors to see, to determine whether or not that was a justified shoot of Daniel Hambrick. So that's where we stand. Folks, listen, thank you so much for a lot of the comments here. I'll scroll through these. We'll take a break. Be back to wrap things up right after this.